Hello there and welcome back. It's Thursday. I'm actually doing a little bit of a challenge right now. I'm only drinking water for 30 days. Well, I'm of course eating food too, but when it comes to beverage and drinks, I'm only drinking water for 30 days. I'm 7 days in, so no sodas, no caffeine, not even tea, only water, and I'm on day 7 now. And so far it feels great, I must say. But sometimes I like to add some lemon to my water, so cheers! Good stuff. Water is the best drink there is. Well, anyways, today I wanted to talk about something that I touched on in a previous video. Yeah, something that is quite personal, and my intention with this video is just to share, to be able to share and to speak about this topic. Just to be open and honest and authentic is something that I feel helps me a lot. And I think it's important for everyone who knows me or interact with me to know about this thing. And also maybe in the best case of scenarios, maybe this can be for use for someone else. I don't know, but who knows? So the thing is that I stutter. I am a person with a stammer. For all of my life, 365 days of the year, 12 months a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours every day, I live with a stutter. Now, I really want to get this right because there are quite a lot of misunderstanding and misconceptions about stuttering. And that's also one thing that makes it kind of hard to talk about. So first thing first, we got to make this clear. There is a thing called stammering. Because I do notice quite a lot that not everyone knows this. Not everyone knows that stuttering is a thing, so to say. And I'm not talking about the kind of stutter that everyone can have once in a while, typically when you're maybe stressed or nervous or anything like that. No, I am talking about the chronic stutter that I say, or the kind of stuttering that has a neurological cause and explanation. So just to get this right, I'm going into a website here called stuttering.se just to get this right. They're writing about like the definition of a stammer, just so I can explain it. Okay, let's see here. So, stammer is a diagnosis that is represented in the international classifications of illnesses. Stuttering is recognized by difficulties to speak, even though the person knows what he or she wants to say. Common symptoms are blockings or repetitions of sound, letters, or words. Many people can have a hard time to get started when trying to speak. It's common to stutter more at certain words or sounds. Sometimes stuttering is associated with muscle tensions or accompanying movements, especially in the jaw or eyes, but it can also be legs or arms. About 1% of the adult population stutters, and there are more men than women. That's interesting. So stuttering usually starts between the ages 2 to 5, but disappears again in many children. If you still stutters in your teens, it's likely that you will more or less stutter as an adult as well. There are many different theories about the cause, but scientists are not certain. What they do know is that the heredity can be a factor. For example, there are theories saying that it has to do with nerve signals from the brain that activates certain muscles when you speak, and that there is a gap there. Or that people who stutters are using both their brain halves instead of just the left one. So now, if I'm a person who stutters, how can I now then record this video and talking fluently? How is that even possible? Well, that is the thing about stuttering, that it's really complex and hard to grip. There can be situations when I'm talking perfectly fluent, and then just for a moment to the next moment I can pick up a phone, and then suddenly I'm not able to speak almost. I can't even say my name. Or maybe someone else walks in the room and I start to talk to them, and then I just stutter at certain words or something. So yeah, it's very, and it has nothing to do, at least for me, with being nervous or anything like that. It's just like when there is an expectations of me talking, sometimes there is a block, even though I'm so calm, even though I'm feeling very calm. So it's very strange. I have a really hard time to explain it in any other way, really, but it can just be from time to time. And for most people, when you sing, I'm not a singer, and you don't want to hear me sing, I will spare you that. But if I do sing to myself in the car or in the shower, as we all do, then that is like the only time when I have 100% control of my talk or my speech. Or if I'm by myself talking to myself, then usually I can also talk fluently, which is strange. And maybe that explains why I can record this video and being quite fluent. But there are certain letters that I do have a problem with, usually like hard sounds like P's and stuff, usually P, like, yeah, certain words. And also I can say, if I'm talking in front of a lot of people, if there is an occasion where I'm standing on a stage or I'm giving a speech or I'm talking or I'm standing in front of a class or talking, then usually I'm fluent as well, which is strange. I can't really explain it, but I do see certain patterns. Also, when I'm talking in the past, if I'm telling a story or something and I'm talking in the past, then usually I stutters more, I realize. But maybe there is because I'm using a different part of the brain or something, I don't know. But stuttering is really complex. And this was something that I didn't used to talk about at all, really. And to be honest, it wasn't always a big problem for me either. And so from time to time it didn't bother me that much. And I guess it has to do with that, this is the only thing I know. It is the only way of speaking that I know. I haven't ever felt how it feels like being able to talk fluently in every situation and so on. So I guess I am used to it. But of course there have been periods in my life or situations where it can be quite tough and quite challenging. For example, usually when I meet new people that don't know me and so on, and also because stuttering is really individual. And for me, it's not that apparent, I would say, as maybe for someone else. So I think also that makes it a bit harder for others to realize like what is going on like with this person, because it's not super obvious that I am a person who stutters. There is a lot happening on the inside, even if you can't see it on the outside. So it's just a really complex thing to talk about, really. But I will give it a try. So what you see on the outside when I stutters, the best way to put it really is that you see the tip of the iceberg, so to say. There is so much going on the inside that you don't see. So it's not just when I stutter and you notice it that it can be hard for me. There is so much going on the inside. And to be honest, it can take a lot of energy and the effort to concentrate to be able to speak for me and for many other people who lives with a stutter. For example, sometimes you have to plan in advance when you're going to speak, like for example, and this is the like typical situation. If you're in a new group of people and everybody is just standing up to say their name and so on, I'm dying a little bit on the inside because I'm just counting down when it will be my turn. And I'm concentrating so hard because then there is an expectation for me to speak. For so many times where I've been standing there and I'm not able to say my name, William, fluently. And I have even had that comment when someone said, "Don't you even know your name?" And of course I know that my name and I do know what I want to say, but I physically can't do it on that specific point in time. And it can be really frustrating in situations like that. There can also, and it used to be also, feelings of embarrassment, guilt, shame, anger, sadness, and frustration, just to name a few. And I would say there was one period in my life when it started to be more of a problem, I would say. And that was when I went to the gymnasium. I'm not sure if you can say that gymnasium is the same as high school. I think gymnasium is high school. Yeah, so I was in my teens and I moved to a new school and there were so many people that I didn't know and they were new to me, and of course I wanted to be able to show me who I was and to make a good impression and just get new friends and so on. But then I really started to realize that it was not so easy for me to do that. I didn't feel comfortable with my stammer, and that's maybe like usually when you're in that age, and I didn't feel comfortable of showing it, so I did everything in my power to hide it. I tried to hide it to every cost. I replaced words. I could fake that I didn't know what to say. I tried to change to a similar word where I just like used fill-in words, you know, like, and then, you know, just to be able to make the sentence through. And my brain was like this. If you used one of those old phones where you had this T9 function, you know, when you write a word and then in real time there are coming up similar words that you can replace it with. Exactly, that was how my brain worked. It just worked so hard, and I was also always thinking in advance when I was speaking to be able to get it fluently, and it took a lot of energy. But also you start to change the way you speak, and one consequences for me was that I just started to not speak. I went more quiet, and that was not really who I was. I wouldn't really consider myself back then being a typical quiet person. That was not who I was in elementary school. But yeah, I just became quiet, I guess, when I didn't feel comfortable to showing my stutter, and it could build up a big frustration inside because I felt like I wasn't able to show myself, and maybe people judged me for being a bit more quiet, and they thought I was shy or something. Yeah, and that was not too good. And now I have realized afterwards, many years later, that the thing is that if you are a person who stammers and you try to hide it, it won't end well, really. Not only will it take a huge amount of energy, but it will also be associated with many bad emotions as well. And the fact is that no matter how hard you try to hide it, try to speak fluently, you won't be able to succeed. The stammer will always shine through. You can't hide it. You will maybe feel emotions of failure instead. So that's what I mean about that it won't end well. Now I have come to realize afterwards that if you are a person who stammers, you need to stammer. You need to show it in order to feel good, and you don't want to feel judged for stammering. So what helped me? The biggest thing for me was the acceptance that I am a person who stammers. Nowadays, sometimes people say to me, oh, now you're not stammering so much, or I don't really even notice. And the people often say that when they want to be nice to me because they think that stammering is something bad. And this kind of crashes with the acceptance. I don't consider my speech or my talk being better when I stutter less or when I stutter more, because if I start to label speaking fluently as good and stammering as bad, it kind of crash with the acceptance part. Then I will feel like stammering is bad, and then I will feel like a failure. But if I don't judge my speak, you know, if I stutter more, if I stutter less, I will just see that it's more stutter or it's less stutter, but the other is not better than the other, if that makes sense. And that is a huge thing for me. Well, it was a few years later when I was 22 years old, and there were no speech therapist or something like that. No, I went to someone else, and I was more talking about my emotions connected to the stammering. And I started to work on things like my self-esteem and my self-worth, and finally the acceptance and so on. And it took some time, I will say that, and it really required some work from my side. But also during this time, I actually started to see some other people who stutters, and that had a big impact on me, because when growing up, I felt like the only person in the whole world with a stammer, but obviously that's not the case, but that's how I felt. I remember it so well. I turned on like TV4, the biggest TV channel in Sweden, and it was a Saturday morning. You have this kind of big talk show in Sweden every Saturday morning, and there was this girl sitting there, prime time, and she was stuttering, and she was talking about her stammering in national TV on a Saturday morning. And I had never ever seen something like that, because honestly, you do not see so much about stuttering or stammering in television or in media, even though 1% of all people all over the world has this thing. The only time I really seen it is when people want to make fun of it or will make jokes about it, and they will have someone to laugh about. But this was something else. And this girl, she was about my age, and I felt like, wow, shit, she became like my a role model, so to say. And I felt like, yeah, she has this thing that I do, and that was the key for me, that I started to accept the stutter. I didn't think anymore like, how would it be if I did not stutter? How would people view me then? What could I do then? Those kind of thoughts started to dissolve, and I started to embrace my stutter and accept it. And I even started to see some good things about my stuttering, like how it, during the years, how it had shaped me to the person that I had become at that point in time. And I also went to a new kind of event during this time. It was a new event, and it was in Gothenburg in 2021, and it was for people who stutters. And that was for the first time in my life when I met so many people at the same time who also had a stutter, and that was just amazing too. I had never met these people before, but just instantly it felt like we shared some kind of invisible bond to each other. We didn't need to explain or something. There was just this understanding among us, and it was just so great to meet all of these people. And also I started to realize that, whoa, this person is doing this, and this person has this as a job, and this person is giving speeches, and this person is doing that. And that just started to inspire me even more, because when I saw them and they were able to do the things that they did, I started to feel like if they can do it, I can too. So it gave me a lot of confidence, and I started to feel proud of my stuttering and who I was in that sense. Yeah, it really lighted the spark inside me. The stuttering is a part of me, but not a part of who I am. And there is a big difference there. It has shaped me, it's a part of me, it has shaped me a lot to the person that I am. But it's not a part of who I am. Because I want people to see me as William and not as the person or the guy with a stammer. I am so much more than that, even though it's a part of me. I just started to realize that all of those limitations that I set out to myself, they only existed in my head. And also I met so many new friends that I still have contact with now, and they have become really good friends of mine, and we get in touch and we share our experiences and we kind of motivate each other. And it's so important not to feel lonely in this, and I guess that's also one part why I am recording this video right now. And that there are quite a lot of people now I have seen on YouTube who are talking about this thing, stuttering, and I'm so glad, because it really helps. And when I see those videos, I kind of recognize so much. But yeah, I'm really happy and grateful for all of these new friends of mine. And like I said, I even started to see the positive aspects of my stammer. I could see how that it made me stronger in myself in some sense. And it's also challenging me to get outside of my comfort zone almost daily, I would say. Picking up the phone and calling that number when I know that I will have a stutter and maybe have a hard time to say my name. I am just picking that phone up. It gets a little bit easier every single time. But I do also think that it's made me a better listener, and I think it made me a bit more empathic as well. I do hope so. And yeah, it's so fun. I feel like I just want to talk more about stuttering and helping sharing the knowledge about it and spread awareness and set the stigma that is associated with stammering whenever I get the chance. And that's really fun, because I went from never talking about stuttering and just want to get rid of it and don't talk about it, to actually now really love and enjoy to talk about this subject. So yeah, because the main thing I believe is to spread awareness and to spread knowledge to everyone. It would feel so much easier for us who stammers, I believe, if the basic knowledge about stuttering was out there. If we could get rid of the misunderstandings and the misconceptions. If I meet a new person and I knew that they knew about my stammer, it would feel so much easier for me, because then they would know that it has nothing to do with being nervous or not knowing what to say and so on. That I do know what I want to say, that I just need a bit more time. That's all. As a person, when you meet someone who stutters, it is not hard really. You would only need to know two things really. Number one, you just need to lean back and relax and let the person that you're talking to takes his or her time. Don't interrupt, don't fill in the word that you think that the person is going to say, because that is rude to interrupt someone, and that I think goes for everyone, right? You don't want to interrupt someone. Truth be told, when I consider all of these positive aspects as well, and all of the people that I met thanks to the stammering, I'm not sure that I would want to live without it, to be honest. I can see all of the things that it has given me as well. One of the reasons of making this video and sharing my story and my message about my stuttering is also because I do think that the kind of way, the acceptance and the way that I view the stuttering, try to see the positives, I do think that this way of viewing a difficult situation are also applicable at the other areas that might be of interest for someone else. Maybe you have your own stutter, something that is holding you back sometimes. I encourage you to try to change your perspective, even just, and I do know that this is hard, but try to change your perspective just a little bit, just try and see how you feel. Just for a brief moment, and see if this difficult thing of yours, whatever it might be, if there is one little positive thing that it has given you. Maybe you wouldn't be the person that you are today if it wasn't for this hard thing or difficult thing. Maybe it has taught you a valuable lesson or give you some new insight. Maybe you have met persons that you wouldn't have met if it wasn't for this thing. Anything, just try to change your perspective, and I do think that in most cases it is possible to find something positive. Everybody got something that they maybe not like about themselves, or something that they would like to change, or something that is a challenge, something that you carry inside you, maybe something that is holding you back. It can be something mentally or physically, but we all got something. I do really think so. Instead of asking yourself, where would I be without it? Ask yourself where you are with it. And if you could do it all over again, are you really sure that you would like to be without it? If you could start all over again? It is okay to be different. Own what makes you unique, and stop waiting for some kind of breakthrough and what is stopping you from accepting. Because we don't really have any other choice, really. That is the best that we can do. And I think that it can be quite good. Alright. This was kind of a heavy talk, and but it felt good. It feels good to talk about this, and I hope maybe it gave something to someone. Either way, thank you for listening if you made it this far. I am really thankful for you watching, and I do also appreciate if you would hit that subscribe, and I would also appreciate if you would hit that subscribe button and also the like button, because it do help the channel. And yeah, I am really looking forward to see you next Thursday in a new video. And if you have any comments, or if you have any insights, or if you want to share something, I would honestly really appreciate some feedback, or if you have any thoughts about this subject, please let me know. That would be meaningful to me. But even if you don't, I look forward to see you next Thursday. Thank you so much. Take care.